3 draws in the last 4 games for Chelsea, as we welcome in Frank Leboeuf, Don Hutchison and Steve Nicol with us as well. Craig, I want to start with you, though. What went wrong today for them?
The same that's been going wrong in a lot of games is, although this game they didn't dominate like they did some of the games. I'm thinking Burnley at home and the drop points, there's been others. They're just not controlling games like they were. The final third, it's all fallen flat. Lukaku's been back in. He came off the bench against Villa. He got himself a goal. That's great for them. He's got himself another goal today. And game time, that's a positive, but there's a lot of negatives.
Right.
You know, Chilwell's now out for the season with the ACL. Reece James played left wing back today. He went off injured. Christensen was struggling. Thiago Silva was out. There's players out of form. There's players out of position. And all of a sudden, they look a bit susceptible at the back as well. So I think, as I said 3 or 4 weeks ago on the show, I don't think the problem's down to one area in this team. I think the problem's now front, middle and back.
Don, can you use those injuries as an excuse for this run?
Yes, a little bit, but I still think there's a bigger problem. The bigger picture is they're not putting teams away, Dan. I mean, too many times, as Craig said, Burnley, Man United, they keep teams in the game. They play 2 in midfield and they've got no domination of the ball. They're not keeping hold of the ball for a period of time to try and, play the game at their tempo. It's all just a little bit rushed. And in the Premier League, when you don't put teams away, even when they score 3 in the Champions League, then it find a way back of scoring 3 against them. So there's obviously a confidence crisis back there. I wonder if it's anything to do with Rudiger's being linked with a big money move away. He's not signed his contract. Christensen exactly the same. Then, as Craig said, and you've just said there, Dan, you add the injuries into the mix and players just coming back, the likes of Kante and Kovacic trying to find their feet. But Chelsea have still got a brilliant squad to be putting the likes of Burnley and Brighton to bed.
8 points now behind Manchester City after they won. We'll speak about them later on. Is Chelsea out the title race, Frank?
I don't know yet. I wouldn't say definitely that they're out of race, but seeing what they're showing us, seeing the result that they're giving to their fans, I have the tendency to think that it's already all over. And not only because of the way Chelsea plays, but because also the way of Manchester City is handling the situation as well. That's not enough. Of course, yeah, you can have the excuse of the injuries, of the COVID, but and with all due respect, because I think today Brighton deserve at least a point. It's Brighton playing against Chelsea. We are talking about the champion of Europe against Brighton. So even with half of the team, being injured, with the players and the personnel you had today, I think it should have been enough to win that game. And they've been under domination for, I would say, 2/3 of the game. So it's not enough. Of course, it's not enough, and it's not normal to see that kind of result from Chelsea.
What's Tuchel getting wrong, Stevie?
I'm not so sure Tuchel's getting anything particularly wrong. I just think that the players, all at one time, have lost that edge. He's complaining after the game about how tired they are, blah blah blah. But the truth is, you've got a front 4 of Mason Mount, Lukaku, Pulisic. I mean, you're talking about 70-odd million to buy any one of these guys. So he can't complain about the names on the back of the jersey that's on the field of play. They're just struggling for form, and sometimes it happens. And when that happens, then you have to dig results out. And they couldn't do that today, primarily because a couple of bad decisions, yes. But the truth is, they got outplayed for 3/4 of this match. They started quickly. They had a good spell at the end, even though Brighton did score in the 90th minute. But in between, they got completely outplayed. They're just out of form, and I'm not so sure that there's too much that Tuchel can do about that.
You can stop moaning for starters.
Well,
he's another one.
That would be a good place.
Yeah, I mean, him and Klopp and others, even Brendan Rodgers, it was the battle of the moaners yesterday at the King Power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a really entertaining game in the end, but it was the battle of the moaners. He's another one. Are Brighton not tired? Are Graham Potter's men not tired? No. They know this is coming. They know these fixtures are here. This is part and parcel of where you finish up at the end of the year, good or bad. Look at his bench. He can't help injuries. Christensen, I don't know if it was a knock or not. Certainly Reece James was a knock.
Yes.
Was a challenge. That's That's an occupational hazard of playing the game. You can pick up these injuries if you don't play for 2 weeks. So I'm sorry, but I'm sick to bleeding death of these Premier League managers whinging and moaning about their players being tired. Of course your players are tired. If they're not tired, there's a problem. But you have a squad, and by the way, you have a gazillion players on loan, as Chelsea and other clubs do. You should have some of the best kids in European, if not world football, all these Premier League clubs with their academies. There is no excuse for having a shortage of people on the bench or having players who can't play because of the money that clubs have, the squads that they have, the academies that they have, and the loan players that they have. All these together should make for the ability, COVID or not in the main, to go and put teams out and not have to sit there after a defeat and say, should have had a penalty, players are tired, too many games. People are just fed up listening to it now, right? At the end of the day, Brighton played some good stuff for a couple of years now. They've played some good football. Their problem has been they have been a little lightweight up front, but they play some good stuff. And for periods of this game today, they outplayed and outfoxed this Chelsea team.
And the problem that Chelsea have, obviously, Don, as well, is the fact that Steve rightly says they're in this slump at the moment. Next up, it's Liverpool, which it's a must-win, isn't it? Are we going to go that far?
Well, it's a must-win for both. I mean, when the game kicks off, I'm pretty sure Man City fans and Guardiola will be desperate for a draw because a draw just suits neither. So this is where now, from now on in, the pressure's on Chelsea and Liverpool big time because you're looking at a Man City side that have just took 30 points from 30, 10 wins on the spin. You know, they've got some difficult games coming up. They've got Arsenal and Chelsea, but the Chelsea-Liverpool game, it's massive because if you're a Liverpool fan looking on, you think, right, it's, 9 points at the moment. If we beat Chelsea, that's their game in hand. They can claw it back to 6. The problem is for Liverpool now, they've got to be flawless like Chelsea from now to the end of the season. They've almost got to win every single game because Man City, from now to the end of the season, are not going to lose 3 or 4 games. That's the problem.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.